Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe. We're going to talk about the chaotic life of the narcissist. What exactly happens? How does it calm them when they're in a chaotic state of life? Now, the narcissist has all this stuff going on inside their brain, all these brain waves. It's like an adrenaline rush. Adrenaline is only good for a certain amount of time. So what they do is they need to get rid of all that energy. When they're calm, it's starting to overload them. So they're putting it on external sources, and that's the people in their life. Sometimes they'll do it at work, they'll do it at home. More often than not, it's with the people that are closest to them. And they're just getting rid of that energy, and it's causing chaos because they're being dismissive. They don't want to deal with certain things. That causes chaos. It doesn't get situations handled. Often the lies that they use are to not self-reflect, because if they self-reflect or take accountability, the brain waves are going on in here, and they're trying to get rid of them because there's just too much. But when they get into that calm state, it's too calm. So they need to create chaos to get rid of that energy. But when they do that, they take our energy. It's a weird way of doing it, because a lot of times relationships are mirroring each other, and it's starting to really fascinate me how much that is true. You know, if I smile, you're going to smile. Even just the yawns. Sometimes when people yawn, it's contagious. Our bodies are meant to synchronize with each other. That's why they say when people are, you know, snuggled up close and in love, their hearts start to synchronize together. They start to go in unison. And mirroring is what we're taught when we're children. We have no idea how to act. So, you know, like we get a birthday gift and it's like, and our parents are like, oh, don't you love it? So we see the smile and the, oh, and so we pick up our traits and our emotions. Or when we do something wrong, they'll give us that look that makes us uncomfortable. And we learn that way. And the narcissist has learned throughout their childhood that they're not worthy, that or they're too worthy. So you got your vulnerable and your grandiose, and that's their sense of self. But you know, people aren't worthless. And people unless you're me, no, just kidding. Unless you're, you know, people can achieve great things, and they can be beautiful, but to be the best of the best, it's almost impossible to be the best of the best in everything. So they have these identity crises, and you know, they want to fit in somehow. So even if you are like a superstar, you got to fit in, you know. But the narcissist picks up on that they always got attention for being, you know, the best athlete or the smartest kid in school, or, you know, they're the big fish in that small pond for whatever, basketball, whatever it is, acting, whatever they are, they're the big fish in the small pond. But welcome to life. Life is the ocean. You're not the best. And they're lost. They are lost in this big ocean of life. And then the vulnerable narcissist believes that they're not worth anything, so they act that way. So if you give them a compliment, you know, it's almost like they'll never believe it. They don't feel they're worthy of love because they never learned that. They're not going to feel that they're smart. They're like, yeah, whatever, like, yeah, this time I got it, but I'm still stupid. And when you listen to the way people talk, they'll tell you who they are. Like I had been going through you know, this rumination, and it was frustrating. And I kept saying, you know, I'm a good person. I'm a good person. And my sister's like, why do you keep saying that? And after a lot of self-reflection, it's because I'm sick of being treated like crap, because I am a nice person. And I do things for people. You know, I don't walk around saying I'm an asshole or I'm stupid. You know, we have our self-identity. So I identify myself as a good person, and I feel unjustly done. But a narcissist will either put the feelings on their ex, where they're like they were the asshole. They don't take accountability. Sometimes exes can be assholes, let's be real. But a lot of times they'll be like, I'm such a jerk, I could have done things different. I don't say that. I say, I wish I did something different. I wish I didn't do that. But they'll be like, I'm such a jerk. And it's like, you're a jerk. That's who you identify as. But then they'll be grandiose, or, the pity party, and just seeking attention. And what do they feel when they move on? It is like a switch. It is like a switch, because they got something different. They're just content right now, with what supply they're draining from. They just don't feel empathy. They shut things down. Just like I said, when I was a burn victim, my body shut, my brain shut down. My brain did not allow me to feel on fire. My brain had no idea what was going on. They're chasing me, I didn't know I was running. They're rolling me around, hitting my head on a tree. I don't remember. I don't even know how many minutes it was. Was it 3 minutes? Was it 25 minutes? I remember walking up to the barbecue in front yard, pink and white towel. And the narcissist kind of goes into that state of shutdown. And that's why too, when you're like, but don't you remember, like, at my baby shower when you came to pick me? And they're like, I'm sure I probably picked you up and I probably helped load stuff. And they're in that like state that I was in during the burn, where I could lie to you and say, oh, it hurt. Freaking no, I don't remember it. And the narcissist is in that shutdown state, to protect their emotions, that they forget things. They'll remember some stuff. They also don't have that connection. You need an emotion tied to an event to remember things. Like right now, if I'm talking to you and you've been through some narcissistic abuse, you're going to connect with it because you're emotionally invested in this. Like, I want to learn about it. The narcissist, if they're watching this, they might be like, either using it for conniving factors, or just to maybe be self-aware, to wonder, why is my life going to crap? There's some emotional connection. So you guys will retain a lot of this. But if you give it to somebody who has no interest in it, they're preoccupied, they're not going to connect with it. They might not even remember what I look like next time they see this video, 2-3 years from now. You guys will probably remember, so as the narcissist creates this chaos, it increases the reality to them that they gave themselves some peace. So now, just like a drug addict, you need more and more and more. It's never enough, because they got used to that. And so they have to create more chaos. And that's where that snowball comes in. And it's like, they get the adrenaline rush of securing the supply. So that's where that so hard to explain, because they're putting the adrenaline onto you because you're absorbing all this, like, wow. But we give it back to them, and for a while it's going good because they're thinking that this is going to be the dreamland. But once they get there, it's out of their realm. It's not their comfort level. It's just like moving into a castle for me. The first few days will be great, and then I'm going to start to hate it. Most beautiful place in the world, and I'm going to hate it. I got to clean it now. Don't want to do it. Got to dust it. Oh, crap. I got to put the towels in the third bathroom. I got to walk a mile to do that. I'm going to start to resent it. And that's what the narcissist is they get the most beautiful thing. You were the most beautiful thing. But then they get resentment from it, to where they're like, I got to take care of it now. I got to keep up the maintenance of it. And that's what relationships are. You have to take care of it. You have to maintain it, because there's two people. Just like in a castle, two people living there, one person's going to start to resent it if it's always that one person doing all the work. a partnership is a partnership. But the narcissist is in that childlike state to where everything's given to them. Their identity is given to them. And so that's what they need. They need their identity given to them. They don't have it because they haven't gotten to that point of growing. And they were in the wrong state of what they were told their identity is. So when they're out in the world's not understanding them. There's rules in society. The narcissist breaks the rules all the time because they're entitled to things in their mind. They think that they deserve things or that they can manipulate to get them. Some will use their looks, some will use their status, and if they don't have what they need to manipulate, they will find it in you. So sometimes the narcissist will go for a younger person when they're starting to get older. So it's kind of like, oh, you must be something special if you were able to secure such a much younger supply. Also, the energy from that younger supply will give them, they can use excuses like, oh, babe, I'd really help you do the dishes, but my hips are hurt. I got arthritis. But they can use it as excuses. Sometimes there are some debilitating things, but a narcissist will use it when they don't need to. And so then you turn into their slave. They're not concerned that they're overworking you or that you need a break. They're going to start to get mad if you need to take a break and the house isn't kept up, or you're just getting overwhelmed because it's taking away from what they pictured as the perfect life. And it's so sad that if they would just take care of what they had and add to it instead of take, it would work. It would work. But they get into that overload stage and they have to put it out onto us. And it's a shock to our system. And we're off balance and we're trying to regain balance. And it just gets to this like back and forth of that unhealthy state. And it just speeds it up. It's just the way the interaction is. It's objects of motion stay in motion, and depending on the frequency, it can escalate it, and it just gets destroyed. And then we get our trauma bond because they try to bring it back down, or sometimes they accept us saying, hey, let's try it a different way. It's this vicious cycle that is exhausting, and it damages our brain. All the highs and lows that we go through, the not knowing what's going to happen next. The narcissist has this whole arsenal of weapons against us, and that's because we told them the truth. So if I told you that when I was a child I was heavy, and so I lost weight, and the narcissist, let's say they call me a fat ass because I gained 2 pounds, that might hurt my heart. But the narcissist, they give us lies, and we don't even know who they really are. So we don't know what to say, what not to say. So sometimes we're thinking we're giving them a compliment, and it's actually hurting them. So in that scenario, if I told you I was a chubby kid and I'm thin now, you calling me chubby is going to hurt me. But the narcissist, let's say they lied. They wanted our sympathy, that they were teased when they were kids. They weren't. But let's say they want the sympathy or to relate to our story. So now I want to do it a different way. If the narcissist was really skinny as a child, but they lied and said that they were heavy because they wanted to relate to us. So now they're a thin person, and we say, you have a nice slim body. They're going to take it as an insult because when they were kids, they were scrawny, skinny, and we're like, I thought I was complimenting you, or encouraging you for this healthier body style, or whatever we're thinking. And we don't realize we just hurt their feelings because they lied to us. There's times you try to relate to how to handle somebody. We all have our sensitive spots, and if, I don't know, let's say they said they could read. and they can't. So, we're like, could you just order? And they don't know how to read off the menu. And so now they're starting to get uncomfortable. Like, I don't know how to do this. I got to take accountability. I'm not going to do it. And so, we don't know what reality is. We're like, does he not want to be? Why is it? Why did he just pick a fight? Why are we leaving? They could easily cut you down. Like, what, you think I'm your slave? I have to order for you. And we're like, what just happened? What just went wrong? I was trying to be like, oh, you said you'd pay for it, and I'm being polite so you could order for me. You don't have to do it that way all the time, but we're like, what just went wrong? I thought I was doing the right thing. And now they hate us because it went back to something in their childhood. And sometimes, even in healthy relationships, we don't always know what people went through, and sometimes you can ask what's going on. And the narcissists, they don't like to be vulnerable. So we don't even know how to correct things. We don't know what went wrong. We don't know how to correct it. Then they resent us, and we're like, we were just trying to make it better. And they're so should you go back to your narcissist? Will they get better? It's just a cycle. Like, you're never going to know who they are. You're never going to know what you're dealing with. It's always going to be a cycle. When they get in the calm state, their brain waves go berserk, and they got to get rid of it, and they put it onto an external source, which is most often the person closest to them. And that's the chaos that keeps them calm. It actually does soothe them. That's why when they drink, it soothes them. It's a depressant. A lot of them I know smoke weed, and they're just trying to alter their brain. They're not happy in their normal state, or what should be a normal state. So they lash out on us because they're uncomfortable. Like, when we start getting irritated, is that reactive abuse where we're starting to get frustrated. That's a lot of times the snowball starts when one narc injury happens, and the reactive abuse or whatever, they communicate in their childlike comfort, and we do too, but they clash. So the narcissist goes back to this fragile ego, and we go back into the loving, let's work through it, and tell me your feelings. And they don't want to tell you their feelings, so they're going to lie about them, or try to avoid it. So they're going to pick the fight. They're going to keep that fight going so they can leave, or they can give you the silent treatment. And we're sitting here like, what is going on? Can't we just talk about it? And then we're turned into a nag, and a lot of times it just escalates, and the breakups, and then we're sitting here like, maybe I should have given them space. We try to, like, what did we do wrong, and how did I not understand them? And they're not going through that same stuff. They don't care that much. And sometimes we think they care. They just don't want to lose the supply, or they don't want, it's not even always us. They don't want to change how society looks at them. So society looked at them as they had the great wife or great husband. They don't want that perception of society. So they'll keep the new supply. They'll keep you. It's not because they like you. I mean, it gets really hard because they do see some good in you. They see a lot of good in you, but they take it from you. They take it from you. And that's a hard thing to understand, is like, where did things go wrong? Why did it have to be so bad? And therapy is not going to help a brainwave, the brain waves. It's due to that empty space in their head, just like that Phineas Gage. Like, if you don't have an arm, maybe you can learn to pick things up, but is it going to be as stable? And is it going to be as comfortable? The narcissist is always going to be uncomfortable. There are adaptations that a narc can make over time. But if you're in a relationship for adaptations, to just survive. Like, I want to be in a relationship for love. So, you know, if you stay or go, it's up to you. But that's where they talk about the self-worth. Aren't you worth love? Aren't you worth love? Because you're pouring it out. And if you stay with them, they're going to drain you dry. It's like that giving tree from Silverstein, where you just give and give and give. You're going to start to feel lonely. You're going to start to feel empty inside. And when you talk to other people, they're not going to understand what you're talking about. They're like, why are you staying? But we're like, the narcissist changes us. And it's not a good situation. So I hope that was helpful. Keep healing. Don't worry about the new supply. Focus on yourself. Do some things to kind of calm yourself. Because I know it's hard. I know it's hard. Research does help for us to understand. Sometimes we feel guilty that it was our fault. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. So big hugs, and one-on-ones are available. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.